What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I wanted to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to give you guys some predictions for tomorrow for a couple of tickers out there. Before I say anything though, let me just mention a few things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends in just 10 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. As a reminder, on SPY, we have a giant cup and handle forming on the monthly, on the much larger time frame. What does that mean? That means for the next month, month and a half, there could be more downside coming for the markets. We could see the market being a little bit weak for September going into October. But as of right now, as long as there's no like super crazy bad news that comes out, such as a new virus, a war, or anything like that, as long as we maintain the current news cycle and the Fed's monetary policy keeps its consistent trend, even if there's downside for September/October, the overall trend in this cup and handle is still suggesting major upside for November/December, and we could be approaching these highs again. Okay, I want to make that as clear as possible. We're not perma bears, we're not perma bulls, we're just reading the charts based off what it's telling us. However, like I implied, there could be more downside coming for September, as that is historically a weaker month, especially during the final 2 weeks. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, we got a big sell-off that happened, and we could see this 442 zone has been historical support as this thing has bounced off of it in the past. So there's a good chance SPY is going to make an attempt to bounce. I'm going to switch over to TradingView just to show you this. We're going to try to bounce off this support right here and try pushing towards this 444 zone between 444 and 445, which is where we have the trend line right here. This was our support trend line. We actually broke below it. So what typically happens, whether we're bearish or not, is we tend to get these back tests. So as long as there's no like insane bad news tomorrow, there should be a back test into this area right here. And then we're going to see it try to an attempts to break it. It may or may not. It's going into FOMC. And if we get a rejection off this, it could continue to sell off lower, especially if we break 442. We could be sticking towards 440, if not 436. But just to be clear, before that happens, especially tomorrow, the most probable outcome would be us trying to get a rebound in a back test of this area. Could even break a little higher. Technically, it is technically possible for us to try to go a little higher before any more potential downside. But the overall trend for like the medium term is still more bearish for the month of September, as we're likely going to be establishing lower highs and lower lows. That's a lot more probable. For Nvda, this is also looking weaker. If you look at the overall trends continuing to just downtrend and downtrend, and there's likely more bearish targets coming. Now, with the market potentially making attempts to bounce, we could see Nvidia get a back test of this 442 zone. It should be testing that, if not 445. But it's likely not going to last too long. It is due for a temporary bounce to retest this liquidity zones right about here on this 442 level. Could reject, maybe go a little higher, really depends on different factors. I could also draw out a Fibonacci retracement just to show you guys, or use a fib tool to measure how high it could go specifically. But for now, any small recovery, any attempts to recover may not be too big, as there would likely still be downside coming later on for this thing to head towards this 425 zone. That is still a real possibility, as this chart looks quite bearish. It's just continuing to sell off pretty hard, and it's been on a downtrend for quite some time. So I'm thinking that the odds do favor Nvidia selling off more, maybe getting a back test first, trying to rebound towards this 442 zone, if not 445, then potentially coming down even lower. That seems very probable to me as well. For Tesla, for tomorrow specifically, well, Tesla is on an uptrend for the timing. It's been uptrending quite a bit, and Tesla still looks relatively strong as long as it holds above its resistance line. Now, the thing about Tesla is, with the market, Tesla has lots of relative strength. It is still strong. It's not necessarily that weak, because it's still holding up, and it almost turned green during some points on Friday. So there could be another attempt by Tesla to try to push a little higher towards this 280 area. It may just like chop around here for some time. And then we're going to have to see what the reaction is towards that FOMC dates, if Tesla does downtrend, what news comes out, etc. And if we do end up getting a back test of this trend line, we're going to be watching to see if Tesla could hold this or not. If it breaks below this trend line of support, we're going to likely come all the way down towards gap support at this 255 area. And if that fails us, then 250 is on the table for Tesla as well. But for now, we're not going to count on way too much downside or upside. There could be a little pop on Tesla coming first with the market for a retest of this higher level, but watch and see if we end up developing a divergence, because when you look at Tesla on the 4-hour time frame, it's already showing signs of flipping. So it may be a very minor bounce. It could go a little higher before it continues lower. But I just wanted to mention that I think it's on the hourly or the 30 minutes time frame. We're on the verge of potentially, holding this bearish divergence that has developed on the chart. So either it pops a little bit more, one last little pop towards like this 280 area before this thing starts really sinking, or Tesla could just start sinking from here. And it is looking like there could be a shift in the direction of Tesla soon. It may not happen immediately. It really depends on different factors like the news. But we're going to be watching to see if Tesla could hit this 280 area one last time before this thing starts to shift, or if Tesla's just going to start downtrending from here. But I am anticipating some downside is very probable, especially because of how the market affects it. We could get one more pop to break the high and maintain the bearish divergence, because if we do that, then we could be developing a double or triple bearish divergence depending on how it forms, and then that could lead to a sell-off later on. So there is a risk of that for Tesla. Am I promising it's going to happen as soon as tomorrow? Not necessarily. There is a good chance this is going to try to hold up if it does end up moving with the market, so long as there's no bad news. But that's going to depend on other different factors. So the most probable move would be Tesla trying to push up one more time, retest this high. It's holding up quite decently, could uptrend temporarily, and then it could end up establishing a triple bearish divergence or a double bearish divergence, because it's starting to establish a single one. And that could lead to a sell-off at the market later on. I want to be as clear as possible. There's a risk of that for Tesla, but we have to wait and see how it develops going into tomorrow to determine how low it would sell off. Now, looking at the QQQ, we're at support. We're very close to the support zone right about here. So there's a chance the QQQ is going to try to like ping pong off of this and then retest 372. This was the previous support becoming resistance at this 372.5 area. If we hit that and we end up rejecting off of it, then we could see this start to sink much lower as time goes on. But watch for that potential backtest at this 372 zone. I think it's going to likely try to make its way back up just by a few points. And we'll see if this thing can hold and break it or not. It may just kind of like hit the 372 zone, just kind of chop around a little bit before this thing starts to sell off later on over the next couple of days. But look for a small rebound first and see how it tries to hold. Last but not least, for Aapl, this is going to be the last one I talk about for today, guys. And I am sorry because I'm going to be busy very soon. Aapl may make an attempt to rebound right here, just a small little retest of this 176.5 area. And then we're going to be watching to see if Aapl rejects. If we get that rejection, there could be a big push down towards this 171 zone, as Aapl is still looking like it hasn't completed its head and shoulders just yet. Now, we could see something like this on Aapl, where it just tries to make its way back up to 176.5 and starts to sell off later on during the week towards this 171 zone, right back down to where this full measured move would be. That seems very possible as well, and there is a risk for like a pop and a drop on Aapl. So we're going to be watching this for tomorrow and see how the market attempts to rebound. There's going to be an attempt most likely, and we'll see if the market can try to hold or not. Overall, I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of like weak, not very, very strong, and the market just gets a small little attempt before it continues lower. Okay? So that's what I'm seeing for the market for tomorrow as the most probable outcome. I thank you all so much for listening. Sorry I can't go over the other tickers for today because I'm going to be busy. I have to be driving really, really far for almost the entire Sunday. I will see you guys very soon tomorrow, though, at the normal time in the morning during the pre-market, intraday, and also after the market closes. Can't wait to see how the market reacts tomorrow, and we will just take care from here. Thank you for listening, guys. Enjoy some football. Do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys very, very soon tomorrow. Thank you, and peace out.